All right, hi guys, Pastor Michelle here again. Day 2 of our Advent series. I'm actually a day behind, so I'm going to put 2 up today. But this is our symbol for day 2 of the Advent series of the Jesse tree. So our symbol today is the oak tree. This is from this book by Pastor Kara Eidson. So the oak tree takes us back. So yesterday's symbol, the first symbol of the series, was the Jesse tree itself. And that spoke, it reminds us of the time in Isaiah's day when Isaiah prophesied that a shoot would come from the line of, from the stump of Jesse. So from the royal line of David, Jesse's son. So from now, starting today, our symbols kind of go backwards in time. So we're going all the way back towards the beginning of Genesis, although it's not in chronological order. If I had done it, it might have been. But this is the oak tree, comes from, the symbol of the oak tree comes from Genesis chapter 18, verses 1 through 15, and then 21, verses 1 through 7. And the oak tree reminds us of the time that God promised. Actually, he reminded Abraham of a promise he had already made many years earlier, that he and his wife Sarah would have offspring as numerous as the stars. So the oak tree tells us, reminds us of a time when God sent messengers to remind Abraham of that promise, because many, many years had passed and still they had no children. And so it tells us, the messengers tell Abraham that the time has finally come, and Sarah is going to have a son, and that son, we learn later, will be named Isaac. And Isaac is named because for the Hebrew word that means laughter, because when Sarah overheard the messengers give this promise to Abraham that it was finally her time to have a child, she laughed, with some skepticism, but some hope as well. There's a couple of things I wanted to read from this book here. So Pastor Kara reminds us that through this symbol, we remember that God is faithful. God is faithful to the covenant he made with Sarah and Abraham. And looking forward, for the benefit of hindsight, we know that their descendants did indeed turn out to be more numerous than the stars. But here's the thing, while we know the end of the story, in the moment of today's story, Sarah didn't. She didn't know the end of the story. So her shock and her disbelief are understandable. She'd carried the weight of infertility for so many years, waiting for this moment to pass. And Pastor Kara reminds us that there are seasons in all of our lives when it is difficult to believe that good will happen again. There are times when it feels as though nothing good could possibly be part of our future stories. I know I've had seasons like that, and I trust that you have as well. And then she says, at all ages, no matter what's, what our life stories are, sometimes there just are circumstances in life that hit us so hard and or so repeatedly that we can convince ourselves that the horrible experience that we're having will last forever. And so the oak tree reminds us to remember God's promise, remember the birth of Isaac, and which points us forward to, which reminds us in this season to look forward to the birth of Jesus, who became God with us in such a special way. Pastor Kara says, we are called to remember that God never abandons us and God never leaves us. God has promised to be with us in all times and places, even the worst that this life has to offer. So friends, I pray that whatever you may be experiencing today, that can be a word of hope for you. And I'll see you again here in just a bit with our day 3 symbol.